welcome back, powerful beings out there. Welcome back to another show of I Am Powerful Movement. My name is Janice, and I have a return special guest, John. How are you? And before we get to what he's up to, let me introduce our podcast, what it's all about. So we have this beautiful poem, kind of really, speak about what the I Empowerment is purpose is here for. So, what this podcast is all about, let me take you to a place of inspiration where empowerment meets transformation. It's the I Am Powerful movement, speaking positivity, changing lives worldwide. From motivational speeches to stories of triumph, these channels beacons helping us all climb. They encourage us to embrace our inner strength, to believe in ourselves, go to any length. I Am Powerful movement. Hear the call on YouTube. They stand, inspiring one and all, from words of wisdom to moments of reflection. They ignite our spirits, sparking self affection. Through their videos, they uplift and empower, teaching us resilience hour after hour. With captivating stories, they break through the noise, fueling our passions, reminding us of our choice. They share insight uncovering our potential, guiding us on a path that's truly essential. From self love to personal growth, they're here to guide. So please give me a follow and like and subscribe to my channel and share with your family and friends who really resonate with our topic. Um, and I thank you for your love and support, everyone. Again, I have my return special guest, John, here. How are you, John? What have you been up to?
Good. We just came back from Missouri. It
Ooh,
was a
nice.
uh, it was a festival, and it was a lot of it was like natural healing, like we were talking about. It's homesteading, just like alternative, non-mainstream. It was just a gathering of people from that have the same kind of mindset as us. So we did that a couple weeks ago, and we're finally back.
Oh, great, great. How long were you out there?
So we drove out. We did a road trip. So we drove out late August. We got there for Labor Day. So it was 3 days. They had campgrounds. They had some comedy. They had music. Also seminars. So one of the speakers was a guy named Christopher Gardner, and he was doing a seminar on biochar. So it's basically taking wood or any kind of organic matter, and then heating it without oxygen. So there's a special type of rocket stove he invented, and you just heat this material with no oxygen for over 1,000 degrees, and then as soon as a lot of the carbon, I guess, or smoke turns clear, he pours water on it to cool it down. And then so it's
Oh,
this thing called biochar. Have you heard of activated charcoal?
no, I have not.
So so activated charcoal is basically it's just charcoal from like a fire, and people would use it to brush their teeth. They'll use it for like digestive issues, to do detoxes. Um, but from what he said, biochar is kind of similar, but it's what they call it structured carbon, and it's like activated charcoal times 100. So everything that
Wow.
activated charcoal can do, biochar can do even better. And then you can put it in your garden. Plants love it. Your garden will just explode because what it does is it's kind of like a conductor of energy. So when you put it in your soil, if you have, especially if you have like one of these, they have this thing that they're doing now with the copper. So if you put copper into your soil, the energy and the electricity from the sun and the earth, all the natural waves, frequencies, it goes into
Mhm.
the soil and then it charges the ground. and it's really great for all, like just like our gut has probiotics, the soil has the same thing. So it's just all the natural good stuff comes in, goes into the roots, and you get like a perfect garden. So we haven't
Wow.
tried it yet, but it's something. Yeah, and you could also brush with it. Brush your teeth. He said like people with receding gums, it just comes back. It's just like
Wow.
a it's just like this cleaner for everything. So yep, that's one of the things I learned there.
That
Maybe
sounds
next year you can
amazing.
come.
That sounds amazing. Sound like you learned something new and you will apply it. And that's what knowledge
Oh yeah,
is powerful, right? Just learning from
definitely,
one
definitely.
another. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
Oh,
interesting
that's
people there
incredible.
too.
Oh, I'll bet. I'll bet.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's so strange. I was about to ask you, what was one thing you learned from your road trip, and you just said it right there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's great.
It was great.
Um,
It-
Awesome. So today's topic, we're gonna talk about the power of healing and self-love that reflects on everything that we do. And right, also we'll um, discuss about this powerful movement right now about the awakening consciousness that we all have been experiencing on Earth. As you feel like the tension of the energies right now is kind of intense. You can tell people are questioning the truth. What is the truth? What's real, what's right, and everything in between. So yeah, our friend here, John, will also ask me questions to kind of get a depict on what my mindset is about on this topic. And again, this is just our opinions. If it resonate with you, that's great because we're all here to strive and really connect with one another. There's so many like-minded people out there. I think that's why podcasts are very a powerful tool to kind of reach out to those masses where to let people know that you are not alone. We are more alike than we are different in many ways. Through our whatever you call it, God, spiritual connection that we all have in this awakening of humanity here. So yes, let's get to it and let's get into it.
So Janice, so I've always been wondering, uh, how was your upbringing, your childhood?
Great. I had that question for you last time, and I'm thank you for
Run it
asking
back.
me. Bring it back. Uh, as we all know, no one grew up perfectly. Obviously, there's no a perfect childhood, but I would say for my childhood upbringing, to say the least, was very loving. I was in a typical provided home with parents and sibling, go to school, get good grades, do what you're told, that kind of thing. And what I didn't realize back then was I was not receiving as a child was the emotional acknowledgement. Meaning, I grew up in an Asian culture, and most Asian culture they have a different way of showing love. For instance, not I grew up not hearing the affirmation positive words such as I'm proud of you, keep up the good work, I love you. So it's more of actions based from my parents and also fear based. Like if you don't do this, you're not gonna get this, and you're so stupid. We need to get a grade, get good grades, or you're gonna fail in this world. So they literally like give you already like this fear-based mentality where like if you don't do this, you don't succeed this, you're not gonna make it. So instead of like the reality is like we should encourage our children because they don't know any better. Our inner voice become their inner voice. So that was definitely not part of my growing up, you could say. And so other than that, yeah, just a lot of, I guess, inner childhood. I wouldn't say trauma. There's trauma to every different level, I guess you can say. But my thing was more of neglecting in the emotional acknowledgement and just really also the affection. Like I didn't. I think it's also the culture thing, if you agree. Like the hugging, the embracing, kissing. I know my parents love me, but I just didn't receive that growing up. So now that I'm a parent, I'm doing everything that I didn't have as a parent for my children. All that affection, all that affirmation from the start. So pretty much that was my childhood upbringing.
So you said that there wasn't, you didn't want to call it trauma, but you think it affected you as an adult, how maybe your parents were a little distant.
I would say not trauma, but more like inner child wounds. We all have deep wounds carrying around them in our childhood, right? Whether it was emotional neglect, and it could be a physical, verbal abuse, verbal neglect, some type of um, just lack in childhood. As you know, no parent are perfect, right? Now that I have a better understanding, your parents can only do whatever they know at that level of their consciousness, like as a parent, because it passed down from their parents. So um yeah, I would say more, John, is more wounds than trauma. I mean, yeah, this different type of wounds, abandonment wounds, there's emotional wounds, mother wounds, lack of a father or mother wounds. You name it, it's out there. It's there. Yeah, everyone has that, a little bit of everything. Yeah.
Exactly. So do you think, like, how did it manifest as an adult for you, those wounds?
So with those wounds, especially with the emotional guidance, lack of guidance, I know that growing up in my adulthood, young years, I was drawn to people that are um, emotional unavailable. You heard of these terms where they come across like they're really good on the outside, but once you kind of get to know them, you realize that they're not emotionally there. They're not emotionally care, or there's a lack of type of self respect. They're just in it for momentary gratification type of thing, not not anything like a long term or deep connection. You can. So I was drawn to people that have very low self worth, have a lot of things that a lot of wounds, just like myself. Like it was truly purely a reflection of my own wounds into other people that I come across in my life, whether it's friendship or romantic partnership as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who probably go through life with these wounds and they don't even realize it, and they're making all of these choices. But somehow, I mean, it probably leads back to their early experiences as kids. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's so important to first have awareness of it, right?
Yes.
And
Awareness.
then the next step, I think, is to somehow heal from those wounds once you identify it. So I
Yeah.
mean,
And I'm sorry to cut you, but that's a great point. You're going there, John. But do you agree? I'm sure you heard of this. Like when you carry all these wounds, or you carry all these baggages, right? Not realizing it, because it stores in your subconscious mind as a child. Whatever you've been programmed to, right? Whether it's a negative environment or positive, whatever it is, you carry these wounds, and then guess what? You spread little sprinkle everywhere you go, every person you meet, especially relationship. Because once you tie with type of, like the love connection, ultimately your partner will triggers you. Like, how, oh, my father did that. How dare you? You trigger me. I'm like, oh, you make me so mad. It could be the littlest thing, but it triggers somebody so deeply because they went through something that, wasn't pleasant at that time. So, so imagine, if we didn't heal ourselves, and actually, that's what's going on right now, actually. But you've seen these people, called narcissistic, you can say, or toxic people. You heard of that, right? They would spread around, and you can feel their very low vibration. Just very, you can just feel like they're angry, like angry at the world, and you don't know why. And they just like, they blame you and never take responsibility. So it's those little things, because it comes from these wounds that we have as a child, and we just kind of like rub it on the even the right person that they meet, but they eventually will rub them up in the wrong way. And no one stays in their life is because they have not healed their childhood wounds. Yeah, what do you think about that?
That's definitely true. For me, I tell this story to my wife, but growing up, I thought my okay, so I always thought my dad was a little bit, I wasn't close to him. It was more my mom. Um, but as an adult, now I look back with having kids that, oh, I was probably in a kind of a dysfunctional family, and it wasn't until I was able to identify that, then I could change the course of how I raise my kids. And then so I had to first identify it, and it wasn't there because before that I think I just made a bunch of excuses for all those mistakes. It was just like, something you lie to yourself. That's what I always say. You The first step to a true awakening, I believe, is to always tell the truth to yourself. And there's too many people out there that don't say something to, like, oh, they'll make a mistake and they'll say, oh, that's okay. You know, um, that would be a lie, and I think it blinds you. And so for me, like I said, with my parents, once I had kids, I was like, oh, I wonder why my mom never did this when I was growing up, but I'm doing it for my kids, you know? And so that was my step to be like, okay, there's something more to this, maybe it wasn't, you know, how they behave wasn't all that great. And I need to take steps, however that affected me, I need to take steps to change it for myself. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if I went over this. I forgot on the last podcast, but I mean, I had a huge awakening in 2015. So that was really my journey towards the truth. But I've always kind of been somewhat of a truth seeker, just because I was just naturally honest. Um, so like for me, if I see something, I gotta call it out as it is. And I don't think a lot of people do that these days. I think they just make excuses for things that should be wrong, right? And that's a big trap. That's a big trap to not heal.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And just going on to what you were saying, with the parenting, you once you're a parent, you realize what was my childhood was missing, right? And I think a lot of us, we grew up to be people pleaser without even knowing, because we always, as children, we always try to fight attention for our parents' attention, right? The sibling fight for mom and dad attention. So realizing like, hey, if I get good grades, if I do this, mom and dad will acknowledge me or will spend time with me more, and things like that, right? And I think from even for myself, my personal experience, I remember I've just always noticed that I'm always trying to fix somebody. I always try to, when I was younger, I try to please everybody, be in that group where I need to be liked, so I can fit in. Like, oh, you like books? I like books too. You like this topic? I like it too. But at the same time, like, I agree with you. You're pretty much lying to yourself. You're not being authentic. Like, what are you trying to fit in for? Half of these people don't even like themselves, and you're trying to fit in their little box. Like, come on, it's exhausting, because it drains your energy over time, because you're just uh basically activating in such an fake, and
Low
in
vibrations.
low
Yeah.
vibration. And over time, it's not going to get it anywhere. And then, as you heard, like, the very famous Jim Carrey, one of his famous quote, I'm not saying it precisely, but he said something in this frame. He said, I hope that everybody has will experience money, fame, and power, and you're gonna realize that's not what we want. All we want is pretty much peace, and
Yeah.
connectedness and understanding of ourselves. And John, so I wanted to ask you, you were just talking about, your awakening. What was, can you share with everyone when was that and what was the experience like?
Okay, so like I said before, I was always open to whatever was true or whatever sounded true, right? Whatever sounded logical. I mean, it always I gravitated towards that. Um, I feel like ever since I was young, I was kind of a study of human behavior. So there was a lot of things that I picked up on growing up, where, like I always says, why learn from your own mistakes if you can learn from other people's mistakes? So I've always
Mhm.
observed people from a very young age. My parents definitely, but I would observe people's behavior and see patterns and see what to do and what not to do. So in that aspect, I think when it came to relationships, how to do those kind of things, um, I was on the ball. When it came to political things, when it came to science, things that I just take a lot of this information from the mainstream. It's like I didn't do those experiments. I just read it in a book, you know, or I just heard it on TV. So 2015 was kind of a big one for me because I kind of I don't know if you remember, but that was the Donald Trump uh, election when
Yes.
he first ran for president. And so that really opened me to how the political system was actually functioning. And I was like, whoa, like I thought the government was, I thought maybe they might have been misguided, but I didn't know they were like actually against us, like intentionally trying to be against us. Um, so I went down so many rabbit holes since then. I mean, it's went from first it started with politics, then it opened up to science and then history, and then it's just became like this snowball effect. Um, I feel that now in 2023, I am kind of on the other side of a lot of these truth journeys, and I'm more calm. But in the beginning of it, when you start first discovering, it's just like, whoa, they're doing this to us. It's just like fear, 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 fear. We gotta prepare, we gotta prepare. But now I'm like, you know what? This is probably how human history has always been. There's always been people in power. There's always been the elites. And what are they always trying to do? Trying to pull one on you, right? Trying to
Yeah.
like manage the sheep. And just knowing that this is how it's always been. And this is kind of like in the Bible, it says, the earth is the devil, Satan is the prince of the earth or the prince of the air, actually. So he has dominion over the earth. And that kind of gives me comfort that there's been people that's done this before and got through it. And I think it's going to be okay for us. I do believe people should go through this journey to wake up. Um, and it's spiritually definitely uplifting, right? But also want to say on the other side, it's okay. When it comes down to it, what I figured out is family, community. Those are the two, and God. And those are the three important things that you should be focusing on.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's amazing. I agree with you on that, John. People call it the 2020 effect on many of us. Doesn't have to be political. It could be anything because we were locked down at home, right? All we had was really a computer in front of us and bunch of red pill areas such as YouTube, you name it, the outside alternative source too, where I was like really had a big awakening with really the government, like what it was all about, because I think the majority of us did not pay attention growing up about that. I was never even having any zero interest to begin with what's going on with, the government, how everything works really, until this whole 2020 thing happened, and has really like, nudges in the shoulder, like, hey, something's going on. And I think as a divine collectiveness, we have to go through this crazy time, you would say, with the inflation, the gas prices, the really like affect our livelihood, for all of us to really learn. Because, John, I don't know, but I feel like this is also a karma thing as a collective, humanity collective consciousness, because we were so. I think of uh, this term, and let me know what you think. We were a child that been bamboozled, whatever that word, by the government. I will
Yes.
give you everything you want. I will take care of you. And then at the end, they just like left you cold for you to struggle. And we all struggle, and we have some of us fell off the cliff, for instance, whatever it is, and that type of turn. But it's like we're baby toddler. We're put in this life thinking like we're gonna be taken care of. Everything's gonna be fine. And then they tell us that, as a child, what do you think? This whole predictive programming is so deeply ingrained in our brain, is that everything they do is about safe self-hatred. They don't want us to learn to love ourselves. As baby come into this world, they love themselves. They have the full confidence. They have no fear. They gravitate to joy for no reason. We all know that, right? That's why, being around children, the energetic wise, is so pure, and innocent. So my story is that we have been programmed to hate ourselves from the start. Whether it's a game, or our inner circle, schools, education, media, movie, film, just hidden messages like you're not good enough. Why do you think Disney film, for instance, I'm sorry to jump off topic here. Why do you think Disney film only have single parent scenario? Almost all Disney princesses never. I never really. Now looking back, I never see them with a mom and dad. They're always with a single mom or single dad, and they're struggling. And they always try to find Prince Charming to get them out of this rut, right? To get them out of this horrible, poor situation, and for us to program, especially young girls, um, to analyze. Prince Charming will come, analyze and dream about your wedding, your whole life, rather than teaching daughters to be confident, to have self empowerment. Like you can do it too. You can manifest anything you want when you have, you know, with the right choices that you make in life. It's like, why don't they teach us that? So yeah, that's my thing. It's like this whole awakening also start with us. Like we cannot blame it on just them, the government. It's also for us to like, hey, reflect up off on us. And so we have to go through this rut of a crisis right now, you can say, like the depression or whatever you call it. For us to feel the pain, because as we know, no pain no gain. If we feel such pain, um we will never go back to this type of experience again. Don't you agree? Like once you're like, no, my children and grandchildren will not endure this slavery or whatever this so-called
I've
journey that that we have to go through. Yep.
I've never seen a truther go backwards. That's one of the things. It's a one direction. It you never go back once you get revealed to it.
In
Um,
other words, once you're awake, you cannot go back to sleep.
no,
Even if you try, like even for me, I've tried, like, oh God, why do I always question things? Why do I always want to know things? Just go back to sleep, Janice, like pretend nothing happened. But you can't. Like it's something like your third eye, just like whatever, your consciousness is exploded and expand. You just seek more and more and more and more. You just want to know and grow. And also the whole I don't know, you heard of this word, unlearn. I think that's a lot of with the
Unlearning.
whole homeschooling
Yeah, it's
too.
like a
It's
homeschool. Yeah,
unschooling,
unlearning. Yeah,
unschooling.
unschooling.
Yeah. Like if you're gonna homeschool your kids, you can't put them on a desk again. That's not right. That's not the whole point. You gotta give them the same different scenario, different your way of teaching, not the system way. Yeah.
Definitely. Um, yeah, I think you hit on it though. When you do have these awakening, um, you just this is the test. God, I think that this earth, this whole experience is to awaken, and a lot of us don't, and I don't think we should feel bad about it. Um, I don't know. I get a feeling inside of me that we we are meant to relive our experience here until we learn some kind of lesson. And I feel like people, I don't know, there's just something in me, even though, I'm more Christian than anything else. But even in the Bible, it says John the Baptist was a reincarnation of Elijah. So even the Bible talks about it. So
Mm.
there's something in this world, this reality, that if we don't learn it now, maybe there's like another chance. I don't think it's just like the end, you're done, it's over, like game over for you. And so it's great that we're awakened, but we know most people aren't. And that doesn't bring me the sadness, right? Because I feel like, oh, they just didn't learn it this time. Maybe they'll learn it the next time, you know? Um, but, anyways, let's talk about once you're awake, is there any unusual things that you've noticed that you've paid attention to? Like synchronicities?
Oh,
Any
definitely.
examples of that in your life?
Yes. So my part to awakening was when my sister had a neurism, and I started questioning about how the mind work. That was the start of it. This was when I was 18 years old, um, in the 2000s era. So ever since then, this I would say the last before 2020, I was like 2018, 2019. This is what I noticed. I've been seeing 11:11 on my clock a lot. Every time I look at the microwave clock, my watch, or whatever the telephone clock. I mean, I would 11:11, or that was the first number that kept frequently hitting me. And I was like, "What is this going on? Am I tripping?" I
So,
started.
so some people say the 11 is like in Freemasonry. I don't know if you've gone down that rabbit hole,
Yes, I have.
but it's like the towers, the two towers of Solomon's temple, because they it forms an 11, right?
Mm,
And 9/11. I don't know if we can talk about that on this show,
yeah,
but that's a very interesting thing that you've noticed. 11. I
yeah.
I heard
I've heard a
somewhere
lot.
that
Uh-huh.
I just heard somewhere that it might be angels speaking to you, giving you signs. Have you
Yes,
heard
that's
that?
another thing that pop up in a lot of the searches is angel numbers. 11:11 is like you're on the right journey. You're in this right awakening time. Um, and so from 11:11, I started seeing 222 after that, and then 333, 444, 1010, 1212. And even the trippiest thing, even my mileage on my car speaks to me in numbers. I swear to you, one time it was 12, 12, 12. Another time 14, 14, 14. And then it has the number like flip back, like number two, and then 00005. Like it's a reflection. It's
Crazy.
crazy. And like you don't ask for these things, but when you look at it, you're like, whoa,
Oh
whoa.
yeah. Well,
But
okay, so sorry. We were going to Korea, and guess what floor we were on in our apartment? It
four
was
four four.
33.
Ah!
Can you believe it? What's the chances?
By the way, 33 has been in a lot of the news media lately. Even the fact
Oh
that we're in
yeah.
the 33 trillion debt right now. Yeah, I mean, hey, look up 33, guys. You know what I'm talking about. The
Oh
33
yeah.
degree. Yep.
Okay, so I understand like if they're using the media might be using it as a signal to each other, but when it just happens accidentally in your life and you're just seeing these numbers everywhere, like okay, so I was going on my road trip and then I just happened to look down. I'm not looking down at my odometer for miles, and I looked down. It was 33,333 miles. I was
No
like,
way.
it was just the whole trip up to there and back was just threes, like the whole
Wow.
time. And then the people at the festival that I met were saying the exact same thing. They're like, they just saw like one of the guys there was saying he just looked down. There's just a sticker on the floor with the number 33. No other stickers around, just right there.
That is crazy.
I just take
Wow.
it as a sign that God might be speaking to us about something. I don't know. But me and
No,
my wife are
three.
trying to have a baby, so
Yeah, you're right. And 33 or three, number three is actually a very significant empowerment number. If
oh, definitely.
I don't think nothing is really negative. I mean, if it keeps repeating over and over, it's really a truly a sign. Yeah,
Right,
a
right.
message. That's
So
awesome.
like, like, do you really look in? Do you know more about these numbers? I mean, I know you're talking about 11 is like a one of the angel numbers, but how much have you looked into? I think they call it gematria, right?
Yes. There is the Metra calculator out there. I have not used it, but I know there's somebody really like devote their time and life about it. I have I get a glimpse of the angel number that we spoke about, 222, 333, 444. I can't think of it on top of my head, but there's actually a meaning behind those angels number, what they mean. Like I think 222, for instance, is more like about uh a, a union of someone's coming in your life, right? Or it could be prosperity coming in. Um and I hear that, with the 444 is like you're in divine time, someone that you love passed away is sending you messages. It's like
Oh wow.
your spiritual angel is right there with you. And as you seeing this number 444, that means I don't know, they're sending message like, hey, I'm okay. I'm okay and I'm good. Something like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's as far as I know. But definitely it's out there, the meaning, the details of it. I mean,
And do you think that this only happens to people that are awake to it? Like the more awake you get, the more you start seeing these, and it's like God talking to us. It's our
I
connection
definitely
to God.
I definitely think, John, for sure. I think what we're lacking in this society is the connection to, God, or some people believe in the universe or that their higher self, whatever they believe in. We're lacking in that. The media is really formulate especially the youth mind to even believe in the devil, for God's sake. They put that out on in music videos nowadays, plain sight, like in your face. You cannot deny it. They're wearing horns and stuff, and wearing red. Like, come on, guys. Like, this is not art. Come on, guys, this is not art. That's what they tell you. It's art, it's cute, it's fun. No, it's not. It's very dark, low vibration that they're feeding off on the youth, and thinking that, oh, it's a cool trend, get into it. No. But anyway, the whole point is we are lack of connection, and then so that's why we have all these so-called zombie walking around this earth, like they're not connecting to anybody, especially themselves. They don't you When you don't know yourself. And the sad thing about this whole thing that we learn about government corruption and all this is that once you break down the psychology of self, they have you. they control you. You know what I mean? Like,
MK
oh,
Ultra.
yes, yes. Like you don't know yourself. Okay, we'll give you something to believe in. We'll give you something to worship, because connection to God, connection to your higher self, universe, whatever you call it, it's it's truly divine because once you let go of control of how your life should be, everything will pretty much sort it out in your favor. And let me share with you, John. Recently, I came across this video, and it spoke volume to me because this pastor, he was saying that, you seek God to ask God to give you more strength. He'll give you weakness. He'll give you challenges along your way and obstacle to find your strength. You ask for love, God gonna give you some hateful environment, hateful people in your way for you to learn about love, to learn about yourself. And something about if you ask for success, for instance, he's gonna maybe bankrupt you or something
Oh yeah.
financially crazy. Like, no, do the opposite.
Test
That's
you.
the whole point. For you to learn to go, oh my goodness, I need you know, y- do you agree? Like something like that? You heard about that before?
You can't grow. I mean, we know this physically. We can't grow our muscles without working them out. You have to lift those weights or do those runs. You can't sit
Yeah,
on the couch and become strong, right?
yeah,
And so the same thing should apply spiritually, right? Mentally, everything is. If you want to create weak people, you give them a lot of comforts, which is why I think everything is in our society is so comfortable, right? Um, I mean, we just go to the grocery store to get our food. I mean, I do that too, but and our entertainment is right here. We're being, always fed all these, lies, I guess you would say. But that's, I think, the intention is to make us weak, to not have that connection with God. And yes, if you do want something greater in life, God will throw the challenges your way, and He will build you, and He'll see if you're up for it, right? Because there's a lot of people that will get those challenges and they'll just fall off. They can't handle it. Um, but if you can get through the challenges and get to the other side, you're going to be a lot stronger, and you're going to have a lot more connection, like you said, to yourself, to God, and then that's where the power comes.
yep, yep. Agree. And then also, isn't it funny the synchronicity aspect of it is like once you're connected, you're like, okay, it's my time to heal now. It's my time to, pick the right choices in my life, right? Or do better, whatever you call it, right? God and universe gonna give you the right people, right? The right community,
Yes.
the right environment, the right even messages through a book. You
Oh
never
yeah.
know. Could be the littlest thing, like what your friend said, like I've been seeing 333 or whatever, or just anything really. To, for us to like, oh my God, we have the same experience. It's
Right.
crazy. Yep.
Well, I mean,
And mhm.
one of my experiences that I share with people is, um, when we started homeschooling, nobody else was doing it in our circle. But 1 year later, the lockdowns happened, you know, and then we were perfectly situated and prepared for the whole 2020 and everything. And I think that was God's way. I mean, it was hard, it was hard to make that transition. But like you said, God throws these challenges your way, you accept it, you become stronger. And then the 2020s happen, and I'm like, oh, that's why. That was my journey, you know. And yes, if you're up for the challenge, you meet them face or head on, and you get through it. God will put things into place for you. 100% believe that. So yes, you're right. I just wish more people could be aware of it, but maybe it's not their time, is what I'm thinking. So what do you think? Do you think there's like a mass awakening happening at this moment? Or do you think a lot of people are still kind of in bed?
Okay, so I think with the whole mass awakening right now has to do with technology that we have. Believe it or not, I think technology we have right now is actually benefiting humanity. Because if you look back 1920s or the back then, the whole everything that's like hidden from us, right? Our history, let's just say. They didn't have technology. They only know what their neighbor knows, right? They only know what the next community knows. And the whole information is so key to our evolution, really. The knowledge is power. That's what they say. So I think with the awakening right now, thanks to technology, thanks to social media, thanks to podcaster like us, you know, and which is podcasting right now is such a huge important movement because people are really teaching one another, not saying that they know everything. Nobody knows everything, but if you pick up on like certain topic that these podcasts are talking about, it resonate with you because that resonate with the journey that you're currently going through right now, right? That's why you're attracting these type of topic that you're currently interested in, or actively trying to learn and evolve in. And that's why I think the attraction in the mind is so magnetic, is so powerful. So with the awakening, it's really just sharing information and for people to honestly to have an awareness whether they live under a rock and they don't know anything in this world. I think at some time in their level of life, something will speak to them, or someone they love closely happen to them for them to go, what's going on, it could be anything. But I'm just saying, like, the huge awakening of our consciousness right now, thank God. It's, you have to use technology for us. But if you live in fear base, you're gonna think like, oh my God, they're trying to us to transhumanism, AI and all that crap, which is true. It could be. But if you don't focus on that, it's not going to happen. And that's the power, again, of our thinking. We have to think energetically positive as individual, right? Be the change you wish to see. That's the famous quote by Gandhi. And even Michael Jackson wrote it in his one of his famous songs, "Be the man in the mirror." I never knew what it was until later on, right? It's such a catchy song, but you're now looking back, he was giving his messages to humanity that really the change come with us. We can't control the world. We can't even control our mom and dad and anyone around us, for a matter of fact, how they feel and think. We only can control ourselves, and through our example, that is powerful. That makes an impact on our children, on our significant other, friends and family, so on.
Definitely. And I think that sorry, my kid just kept coming in. I lost my train of thought. But that's definitely true what you said. But I'm just curious, like, because of technology and now you're starting this podcast and you're using that technology to reach more people, like, what actually inspired you to do this? What's the history behind it?
There's really no history. It's really my involvement, or not, I'm sorry, self learning or unlearning about myself and my journey and experience. And like I told you before, I have listened to podcasts for many years. I replaced music with podcasts during my rise home and stuff like that, and doing chores at home, things like that. So I'm learning as I go. So having this platform and really this motivation and inspire other people, really truly inspire me to start this podcast, I Am Powerful movement. And that name alone is powerful. I really feel like each and one of us, you, I, friends, family, everybody you meet are powerful in their own way, in their own unique way, right? Whether it's is because of their story, their experience, their triumphs. Who knows? It doesn't matter. But wherever their journey is, it's a powerful statement in itself, you know? And so having to really like learn from one another on each, the Zoom call, which is like the 2020 thing, big boom, right? People, connecting. And that's another thing with benefit for our humanity too, is we connect to anywhere, with anyone throughout the world, right? It's through Zoom call, it's through, this, because I think a while back they were talking about, let's have a video phone call, right?
Oh
And
yeah,
now guess what? It's even
the future
way
is
better
here.
than it's, yeah, the Jetsons here. um but what was I saying? So
Oh,
yeah, long story short, but it really inspired me to give platform to other people. Let's just say, like, I want to hear their story. I want to interview great minds. When I meet people, really, I would consider myself uh, friendly. I'm very open. I love to meet new people. Or I could go in the room not knowing anybody, but I'll make my way around it. I'll introduce myself, and I always tell myself my vibration is gonna pick up on certain people that are in the same frequency, let's just say, like, and then it's always true. So I end up talking to people who have like very interesting story. I was like, oh my goodness, I can learn so much from you, and you can share your knowledge with everyone too. So I'm already thinking, like, and so I'm so happy that I started this podcast back in June. Just really, just having a very natural style, not no scripted, nothing, go with the flow style chat, and chatting with a friend, getting to know one another. I think that alone really like is very impactful for the community to hear and listen to. It flows.
oh yeah. And you're getting off to a great start. You already have a few shows to listen to. So anybody who just happens to see this, there's other interviews out there that you can consume.
And yes,
Um,
since you're on the topic, anyone listening to I Am Powerful Movement, I encourage you, please reach out to me. All my info's there. Give me a message if you love to be on my platform, my show, like where John is right now. I would love to get to know you, and learn from one another. I don't care whatever it is that you are expert in, anything. I'm open, and let's talk, let's connect. Yes.
yeah, you can't be a silo, especially if you're going through this journey. It can be kind of lonely if you're just in your room on the internet watching stuff. You actually have to go out there and connect with people. Iron sharpens iron. So I mean, that's great that you've created this show. I hope for the best. I know it's going to be a successful show. You're going to meet a lot of new people, and that's just the way forward. I mean, that's part of your journey, right?
Yeah, thank you, John. And yeah, being part of it and really confiding in me and just sharing your knowledge. I think your words have so much power, and your community with the homestead community. I'm sure people in this podcast have learned something. As we all know, the rising of food have made people have make people to make better choices with what they put in their bodies and
Oh
their
yeah,
mind. And I think with the whole farm, FARM, pharmacy, has truly booming because people want to grow authentic nutrition food in their backyard.
oh
And this
yeah.
community that you're leading and learning from is really helping one another to do that.
In the Bible, a lot of Jesus' parables were about gardening and farming. So I think he was giving us hints of how we should be living our lives. But yeah, definitely recommend if anybody can, even if you have a little balcony, just a few potted plants, try to do something, one of the problems we have is nutrition deficiency. I don't know if it's exactly going to be, everybody's always talking about, oh, there's going to be like a famine. They're going to try to create a food shortage. But I think you're always going to have Cheerios, Cheetos, Snickers bars, all the poison, right?
The
But
bioengineering food.
the
Yes.
bioengineer, we're gonna be eating bugs pretty soon, if we're not already. But at least if you have your garden, you know what you put into it. That's what God gives you. That's real food. You can at least get some of your nutrition and vitamins from your own home.
And truly, if you can't do that, go to not promote, but also like what you call it,
Farmers markets,
farmers market.
yes.
Yes,
Support
yes.
the local farmers.
Support the small businesses, farmers. Yeah, definitely. It's funny that you said that, John, because I think what we're living right now is we're living in reverse. What I mean by that is that, with before I don't even remember, but remember 20 years ago when the internet just rarely came out without big
Okay.
box internet, and we have to sit there for hours. You got mail.
Oh,
that
AOL,
that
yeah,
era.
1990s.
Mhm. So we went to we turned to internet to escape reality in that time.
Yes,
But now, 2023, the whole era right now is going, we're escaping internet to go back to the real reality, such
yeah,
as community, such as connection with people, um, such as growing our own food, and just going back to the basic way of life, and having that family traditional values and morals that
right.
instill in us for decades and hundreds of years ago. We're all going back to the mother nature thing, versus like, okay, AI is gonna be your new babysitter, that kind of thing. Yeah, what do you think about that? Like, we're going back to the
Well,
the golden age.
so everyone said self checkout, AI, robots, and AI is just going to replace all the workers. And guess what happened? Because of all the theft in like places like San Francisco, LA, we're going back to cashiers now. So
Ah,
whatever their plans are of like replacing us, you're never going to replace the human spirit. That's why I believe there is hope, for the future. It's a cycle. We've been through this many times in the past. I mean, what was like 80 years ago? What was that? The World War II? I mean, that must have seemed like, the end of the world. 100 million people dying, right? Um, and now we don't have world wars, but we do have um, despair, right? And despair is killing a lot of people just from that, just hopelessness. So I hope that people can look to the future and not and see something brighter, right? And for me, gardening has helped me see that, and it is part of the experience is to just see life, just see life grow and give you life.
definitely. And as you said, gardening is part of your healing process. It's therapeutic for you, and that's something you're tuned in with. It could be different for everybody. Some people could be like singing, some people could be painting. For me, it's more about what I'm doing right now. Just really connecting, learning from one another. That gives me strength. That gives me inspiration. So I'm gonna keep continue learning and growing with this process. So I encourage everybody, like, really just get in touch with yourself and say, hey, what makes me happy? What is my happy place? What really, just what's something you can just zone out and do it for hours without getting paid, obviously, like just put manifest that. People get paid for certain things that they don't never even believe that they're gonna get paid, but they did. So
Yeah,
we're living in, we are, what you call it, we are naturally
naturally.
abundant.
Oh yeah,
Abundance are
it's
everywhere.
abundant.
It's fear based on the media that tells us that we're lack of, we're short of money, we're short of this, we're in debt. It's all fear based. If you think of the words they're using, debt, um no time, whatever it is, working, working, working. But if you are consciously aware of these words they're putting in your your TV or whatever, your phone, just replace it, cancel it. I'm choose, you have the power to choose right then and there and go, hey, I live in an abundance world. Everything I always need will be taken care of. you know Everything that I everything that I've strived for will come to me in the right time, in divine right time, whatever it is. Just replace it, and then just let it go. Don't stress over it. It's because our emotional attached to the anxiety that really lower our frequency, lower our vibration. And that's what it drawn to a lot of negativity if we worry. There's a famous phrase where they say, why worry? If you worry, it'll master you, right? True. It's true. If you can sit there worry for like, what's the point of that? You're attracting those things more, even more. Use worry to gain what you want. People, it's funny how you have this thing, like people talk about gossip all the time, right? That's what the media endorse. All the reality TV
Oh yeah.
shows endorse, right? You gotta gossip about her. She's no good or he's no good, blah blah blah. Well, and so we learn. We've been programming. Whenever we meet, we judge people by the cover of their clothing or whatever, right? And then we start talking about, oh, she must be this and that and that, and then it amplifies like, oh, but really, when you gossip, it's something you're lacking in yourself, and you have to judge other to make yourself feel good, as I've learned. So why can't we place that with blessing? Talk about your
Right.
blessing. Talk
Be
about how
positive.
much abundance, gratitude you have, a roof over your head, children, family, people you can come home to, loved ones, etc.
When you focus on what you have instead of what you don't have, I think things happen in your life. Like we talked about synchronicities, because that's one of the lessons is if you put all that away and just um, just have a positive mindset, you've just passed the biggest test of life, and that's when the blessings start piling up. And I tell my wife, I was like laying down at the hotel room on our trip, just looking at my family, and get this, I feel like I have a hard life. I mean, I have so much responsibility. I feel like I have to take care of, I'm the only child, so I feel like I have to take care of my parents, um Jen's parents, on top of that, my kids. And I was laying right there in that hotel room, and I was thinking and looking at my kids laughing and my wife. I was like, wow, I'm so blessed. Like God has given me so much. I'm not a multimillionaire. I don't live in a mansion. I live in a regular house, but He's given me everything that I need in this life, in this existence. And I just wish that more people would be awakened to that. Just a very simple mindset. Just get rid of the negativity. And I'm human too. I have negative thoughts. I struggle with that as well. But if you could just snap yourself out of it, get rid of the negativity, and just focus on the positive, I think that alone is going to set off a chain reaction in your life. And just so many things and blessings are just going to come your way. And it's not going to be like what you think it might be, materialistic thing like riches. And it's going to be like the right people, right? Come along. You're just going to have a rich experience. So
Wow, that's beautiful said, for sure. You're pretty much saying like the power of gratitude. It's the power of being grateful for what you currently have, which is your family, their joy, your connection with them, and connection with communities, and building communities, the right people in your mind, in your surrounding, really amplify your life, and that is pure joy right there. You don't need anything exterior. That's why they say, fame and fortune is just the
probably a
it's just
curse.
it's a theater show. Really, it is. I
It
want to.
might actually relate. Sorry, it might actually relate to the manifestation too. I mean, if you have positive thoughts, you're kind of manifesting something in your mind that comes up in reality. I don't know, just a thought.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, John. I would consider myself a big manifester. Um, I call it, I'm a powerful manifester, right? So I'm looking for ways to manifest. the right way, of course, not just like whatever. So recently I came across several videos that talk about the chakras, the seven chakras, the crown chakras, root chakra, in between your heart chakras, crown chakra, yeah, all that. Um, so when you say I am affirmation, you might be talking about your interpreting in the root chakras. So that's why your affirmation isn't working faster, as I found out. So you need to replace certain words such as I feel love, I understand myself, I believe in myself, you know, I
You're
am
saying
good
that's
enough.
root. You saying these words are the root chakra type, or
I am just
I
saying the
am?
basic I am is the root chakras.
Oh yeah,
So
that's
you
your
need to move
material.
up. Yes, some more material thing, so it doesn't amplify it. So you need to go into the heart chakras, such as I love, I feel, I connect, and then go to um I don't know the word pervasion, but I will link it up when I get a chance. But talking about I see abundance, I
That makes
feel
sense.
abundance. I see abundance wherever I go. I see opportunity wherever I go. It's because you're speaking of the
The
eye
sight.
chakra, the
Yeah.
vision, the sight, which is opening your third mind. So you need to just it's all about replacing the words. You know how powerful that is? That's amazing, right? And so
You call it
going
spelling.
back to the yes, going back to the manifestation, it's real. I believe it's real because it have worked wonders in my personal experience. I went from a bad job to a good job to a job that I feel like is fulfilling, that I get to be home with my kids, things like that. So what I'm going through with this is
Honking.
there, there was a honking. I think it went away. All right. So in order to amplify, I would say the word amplify, like make it true. One, you gotta let go. Once you put it out there to God, to the universe, this is what I want. Instead of being obsessed about it. For example, let's say you wanna track $1,000, extra money, right? Instead of saying, when is this money coming? Blah 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 blah. Over time, you're gonna start fooling yourself. Your mind will start repicking, like, John, you're just, what a joke. Stop doing that. And and then so you feel bad, right? So that feeling bad, guess what? It attract bad things.
Yeah.
Therefore, you're attracting zero opportunities, zero gigs, whatever it is, right? So this is what the a lot of videos, a lot of technique method have been I've been came across with, and I have tried it too. It worked. You gotta visualize the end result. That's the secret. As I don't know what in the Bible's phrase said, something about faith. It's like has to do with faith. Faith is about believing something that's not there. That's something
Okay.
that's there. You believe it in first before it come true, instead of like the other way where I'll believe it when I see it. You heard of that term, right? A lot
Right.
of people
Right.
say like, I'll believe it when I have the money in my hand. No, you have to believe it that you having the money in your hand even before the money came. you know so anyway, the whole point is the end result, and so you got to attach the emotion to it. Be in your own zone where you just visualize, oh my goodness, I this money just fall in my lap. I don't know where it came from. I feel so good. It's great, awesome. Oh my god, like just like do your money dance. I don't care what it is. Just feel in this moment as if you have it. How did that moment make you feel? That's all it is. Because as you know, the mind does not care if it's imaginary or it's real, right?
Right.
It'll just pick up on whatever you believe is true for yourself, whether it's good or negative, right?
Right. Right.
So as I come across a lot of these videos, that's what one of the method is. It is done. Every time you uh call out something that you want to attract in your life, it is done. It is done that I'm going to get this great job. It is done that I will manifest the love part, the right partner in my life, for example. Yeah, and you got to truly believe it. You can't be fooling yourself because it's only yourself. It's in your mind. So your mind will know if you're faking
Yeah.
future for you. So you got to make it so believable. And you know how you make it believable, guys?
Be
Habits.
honest. A habit. Yeah.
Habits. Do it every single day, like a ritual, like before you go to bed. You know, form your own magazine, form your own script, or whatever it is. Read it out to you. Oh my goodness. Oh, that is true. Oh, I love it. Yeah, 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 yeah. Make it believable. As you do it over time, guess what? It only takes 21 days to change your subconscious mind, to reprogram, in other words.
I mean, they do say meditation. I think meditation and prayer might have some similarities, but it's just being in that thought, being in communion with God, um, connecting to your spiritual self, right? I mean, I haven't looked into meditation, but that's what I think it might be. Um,
John, I'm so glad you talk about that. I'm sorry to cut you off right there. I just went to a meditation community today
oh,
as we
how was
spoke.
it?
So I
Wow,
manifest this.
synchronicity.
I swear to God, I manifest this like I don't know, maybe 2 months ago. I said, you know what? I'm in this learning journey of mine. I love it. I love that I'm starting the podcast. But you know what? You know what, God and universe? I would love to manifest a community where we can just like sit together and meditate for humanity, meditate together as a collective consciousness for the healing of the world, healing of our children, everything that's going on, that just like positive things. And one of my friend that I met not too long ago, a month ago, she's like, "Hey, come on, this is group that I'm involved. All we do is meditate for humanity." I was like, "Oh my God, bring me on!" I went to
That's
the
like a
group.
prayer group.
I'm sorry.
That's like a prayer group, but you're calling it meditation.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's really meditation group because you're not sitting like crisscross applesauce or anything like that. You're not like doing but you're literally just like in zone out for like good 30 minutes or something. And everyone, like someone was speaking and saying that focus on this, focus on how, like, um for example, one of the thing that she said was like, focus on someone you love. Imagine that person right in front of you, and just like how you would see them perfectly, how how would they be like happy in their happy version of themselves. Just envision that they're in front of you, and just like send this energy to them, like as their loving self, and you guys having a good time. It is pretty oh my God, it's pretty powerful, like just to.
Oh yeah.
And then I can feel like while closing our eyes, and I can just feel energetically this frequency as we're just like in this positive state of mind. It feel really good. It really feel like you're on cloud nine. Like everyone just talk to each other as if like we met each other another lifetime or something like that. And like, oh my God, you're into that? That's great. That's awesome. No judgment, nothing. Just really pure happiness and just sharing knowledge and getting to know one another. And that's really all about community based. Like if you put yourself out there, knowing what you want, God gonna deliver. God gonna give you certain people. Go, hey, hang out with me. Hang out with this group. You just never know. Yeah.
And you found them off a website or like a Facebook group, or
So my
how'd you
friend,
discover
my
them?
my friend found them on a website.
Oh, your friend did.
And so she was in this journey where, about self-healing and self-love as well. She's like, I want to be around people just like in the right state of mind. I'm just sick and tired of fixing people, like I just want people like really amplify my power, my strength, just be in the uh right mind. And then so she found it on internet. um and again, all these I would say communities are private. They're not advertising anywhere. They're not even on like social media,
Right.
Instagram, anything like that. It's all word of mouth, and that's what they want. They want to bring the right people in.
You
And
have to be
one of
very
the
careful.
yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, I never did that. I mean, even for me, I do most of my prayers in private and maybe with my family. But I do have a story um, of my in-laws. So early in my career, I would get laid off a lot.
Mhm.
I'm a really bad employee because I don't like having a boss. So that's like strike number one. But I would just keep getting laid off. And every time I get laid off, and I find this out later, my wife tells my mother in law, and then they just, as a church, just pray for me. And I guess that's what they're doing. They're like focusing their energy and onto me. And then it always happens like a week later, I find a new job. So it just, I lose one and then I just find another one. It's like, and after that, I was always like, anything I need, like something important, right? I'm like, hey, can your parents just pray for me? Just send it to their church and then like give me that good energy going forward. But yeah,
I believe in that. Yeah.
I don't think there's just like one path. Um, I've said this to my family, like, what about people who didn't have a Bible, right? How did
Mm.
they seek God when they were just like in a village? I think God is just there. It's just innate in us to seek Him. It's brainwashing to get us not to want to seek God, conditioning, right, through trauma or whatnot. But like for you, you're doing it through the meditation, through these groups, and for me, my path, I feel more comfortable with having a more Christian base. But it's interesting how there's so many similarities between these.
Yeah, I think meditation and prayer is like really has their similarity, like you said. Well, I to be honest with you, John, like this is my first time meditate in a group like this. I like I said, it was really profounding that I just asked for it and then it found my lap in a way. But I think my form of meditation, to be honest with you, with my personal experience, is about uh breathing work, breath work. I mean, just I don't do the whole sitting down and do all this. None of that. It's really just like whenever I see myself chaotic or whatever, or I just want to zone out, I breathe. I take deep breath. That's all it is. So when you take deep breath, as you know, you're focused on it, right? Your thoughts just go away. You notice that? Like your negative thoughts or whatever it is that at that
Right,
time, it just kind of go away and I put you in the state of the present time. And I love that. So that also expressed the gratitude breath work too. You're just like breathing. You're like, you know what? I love. I love myself. I love being healthy. In this moment, everything's provided. I'm taken care of. Something like that. Until you take a few breath work, and I don't know, but breath work really work great on children. Especially
oh,
when they're having a tantrum.
yeah, yeah,
That
they say
that is
breathe.
something. Exactly. That is something I never grew up with. That's another thing within my childhood. Nobody talked about my breath work. Like they just go in the corner, stop crying, like be quiet. You know. But as we know now, as parenting, conscious parenting, that is, we know that breath work really, really calm the child down. We don't have to say anything because during that during that tantrum they're not going to pick up on a lesson. Anything that we tell them, like, stop doing that, you're not going to feel better. They just want really seeing you as a calm person versus their chaos, right? If they see you calm, eventually you calm. So what I do with my children, I just do breath work in front of them. I'm like, let's breathe.
Why is mommy
Everything is
breathing so much?
okay. Yes. Do you do that with your children?
I haven't done breath work. Maybe I should try it. Actually, I mean,
Yeah.
when they do something wrong, I mean, I do the standard thing. Oh, don't do that. Like, I mean, I try to explain it afterward. I think that's something different that I do that my parents didn't do, which it try to explain to me why I should be a certain way. Um, but yeah, I don't do the like. Maybe I should try it. Like when they're throwing a tantrum, I just and just get
Yeah,
calm.
I
If they
I
get
challenge
calm,
you. I challenge you to do the breath work for yourself and around your kids. When things are
okay,
like, crazy, chaotic. Try for a week and let me know.
okay, yeah,
No,
yeah.
it really,
Thank
it
you.
really, truly is calm. What I also do is this other method is the counting five, because kids love in numbers, counting down like, the rocket lift off. So what I do is just like five, let's breathe in, everything okay. Four,
Oh,
you know,
I do
like
that.
love, it's all
Yeah,
good. Three. So when they
yeah,
hear the words along with the description, because kids in general, they like what you call discipline, right? They like things that you tell them what to do, and like, like we're teachers, to them, we're their teachers, like their first teachers. So I don't know. I just noticed it worked for me, even for me, when I'm trying to, like focus on like what task to work on. Let's breathe, Janice. Let's just focus on what I want to do right now. Just the simplest thing. So anyway, sorry with the long story description there, but long story short, with the whole meditation and prayer, I truly believe in prayer. I pray every night with my kids before we go to bed. And I have them pray for themselves too, And I think prayer really, I don't know, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like, you know what? My prayers will always be answered, you know?
oh
Or,
yeah,
I'm on mom and dad, I got you. We're in this team together,
yeah,
It is really, really powerful.
man. There's just so much to learn in life. That's the fun of the journey.
Yes. So, I want to ask you, John, real quick. In the topic right now about, let's say, self-love. First of all, growing up, did you experience noticing any self-love from your caretaker? And then how did you know, learn more about that in later life?
Um, you mean my parents? If I notice if they there was something. My dad was he talked a lot, but he didn't really talk much about his feelings. So he was definitely kind of a black box when it came to what he was thinking deep inside. I mean, he definitely showed his anger, all those negative emotions, but he never really said what made him sad. Things that brought him joy. I mean, just those really intimate, kind of like vulnerable thoughts. Um, but I believe maybe there might have been something in there that he was trying to. I mean, I don't want to play armchair psychologist because I don't really know, but maybe something in his childhood created a block for him, right?
Mhm.
So it came out more as negative emotions, but like maybe he didn't understand it, why, and it could have been because he had some kind of bad feeling about who he was. I'm not sure, but definitely my mom. I think she went through a lot of anxiety and worry. Um, she might have she might have had low self esteem too. And yeah, my parents were definitely not showing an example to me, I guess, growing up of how to become a positive person. Um, but like I said, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I was different from them in a lot of ways, that I diverged from their path. And I would have sometimes I would have thoughts about myself, but I wouldn't consider myself in general like someone with low self-esteem, you know. I, I was realistic. I didn't have this narcissistic high ego about myself, but I never felt like, oh, I'm not worth it. I'm not worthy. I always had, like how I'm talking to you right now, of like, you just put your mind to it, you'll achieve it. Like that's kind of how I grew up, just naturally. And this is why I talk about reincarnation, because I don't know where that came from, to be honest. And so I agree with you with the whole self love and healing. You have to have a positive attitude about yourself. That's where it starts. And for me, yeah, I just felt for the most part that way. And I think maybe I've done this many times. And every life you get a memory wipe, so you don't remember your last life. Um, but yeah, like I agree with what you said, but yeah, I don't think my parents never modeled anything for me in that aspect. I just naturally had something in me was, just coming out. I don't know. Does that answer your question?
Oh yeah, definitely. You sound like, because there's children, you were once a child. I'm saying that sometimes children alone can outgrow their parents spiritually and and energy wise. Really, it's true. They can be wiser energetically. That's what I'm saying. Like that, even though you didn't see that modeling from your parents, but I think it's, something in you, whether it's through your belief, your faith in God, that makes you feel like, you know what, I do love myself. I'm gonna be taken care of.
Right.
I don't live in a fear based mentality. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, like I look at my kids and I can see there's something different about them, that there does
Mm,
seem to be that like self-doubt and a lot of like low confidence. And I'm always trying to encourage them, and I always trying to like give them my life stories of like how I overcame challenges. Um and so it's been kind of hard. And I don't know, maybe people are just bored. Like I don't know, it's I get this sense that there's our material body that has all that personality trait and characteristic. And then there's like a spiritual body, but like I don't know, maybe the spiritual body has to somehow break through that material viewpoint. And it's just weird because I felt like maybe if they see how I live and how I think, I could model it for them. But it seemed like they just have their own personality.
yeah. I mean, as we all, I mean, what what I learned, whether it's your children or anyone around you, we are in our different journey. Let's just say consciousness. This is the best way to put it. I found was you can expect a kindergartner to think like an eighth grader. For instance, I mean, for example, your kids. Yeah, as much as I want my kids to think just like me, I realize that's not realistic. However, your impact of your examples, even your storytelling from time, whatever you're doing, you work with them or whatever, they're listening. Believe it or not, they are. They're learning, but they might not project it now, like, oh, I get it. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. But it's gonna keep doing it over time, like a habit, you know? Hey, yeah, remember whatever you're doing, and like I remember I didn't get to do this. I didn't know how to do this, but now I'm a pro at it because I practice and whatever it is. So keep explaining. Love kids
Yeah.
explanation, I think. Um and I think with my self-love journey, just like yourself, I never had any modeling from my parents. Um I came across Louise Hay, who was a big self-love pretty much guru about that. She had a mirror reflection exercise. Like she tells that everybody in this world cannot look at themselves in the eye and say, "I love you, Janice," or "I love you" to themselves, because we are programmed with so much negativity and so much. Let's just say, looking at your flaws is better than looking at what is truly beauty, in front of you. Like, yeah. Anyway, so I learned it from her. I found her on YouTube,
Nice.
by the way. So I started with practicing really in the mirror, looking at myself dead in the eye and go, I love you, Janice. I'm very proud of you. Of course, in the beginning, it feels funny,
It's
right? It
weird.
didn't feel right because I never taught that. Yeah, right. Who am I joking? But really, also, I put myself where I have to do it as a ritual, like every night, before I go to bed, do it, and it becomes habit. It becomes fun, John. It
Oh yeah.
becomes like, oh yeah, yeah, you got it, girl. Like I'm proud of you. You did your best today. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
And you got to be your own cheerleader. Over time, I gotten so used to being my own cheerleader. It becomes really like nothing. It becomes normal. Like this is normal to me. Like I talk to myself in a good way, because as you heard, your mind is could be your greatest enemies or your best friend. your greatest best friend.
Yeah.
Your whatever you choose is your choice, right? You have heard of these what's that word? Sick and what's a mental illness?
Schizophrenia?
Yes.
Schizophrenia? Yeah.
Somebody put a video and they had this, I guess, this experiment. And then it's kind of sound pretty scary, but like this is what a typical that type of mental illness go through every single day, almost momentary of their whole day of their life. This is what they hear. You suck,
Oh
or
wow.
you are not worthy. Or even worse scenario, kill yourself, or
Yeah,
whatever it is, like really negative things. Can you imagine hearing that over and over and over? That's why they go insane, because they just want to
they're
stop.
afflicted.
Yeah, so it's really a very sad and a sad scenario for people who have truly mental illness that can't, get out cell. And then I also really applaud that you said with the whole prayer in groups. I truly believe that. You know, that's why we need more prayers or
Oh yeah.
meditation as a group, as a community, consciousness, just to like pray for. I have come across this podcast. Someone's like, "Hey, my, during their podcast, he actually shared one of his personal private experience where his son was in, ICU or whatever. Please help me. Everyone in this audience listening, my son's name is blah blah blah. Please pray for him that he healing. Keep him in your prayer and your thoughts." And
Right.
then a week later, he shared his experience that even doctors can't explain it. His son got out of the ICU and is performing better. So truly, our healing, our prayers have such a big impact, John, in the community.
Definitely.
Whether you don't even have to know their face, you don't even have to know them personally, but like just someone presenting, to say, "Hey, John, I want John pray for John for the right job," or whatever it is. It's so powerful. It's so
Right, right.
significant.
While you were saying that, we have somebody here that added a comment. I don't know if you noticed. Etheric bodywork. Do you see
Oh
that?
yeah, that's my friend.
Oh, that's your
Hey,
friend. Okay.
Kelly.
It was like an hour too late. Oh well.
But yeah, so I know we're gonna wrap this topic, this great episode up. But I'm so glad it flowed so well.
Oh yeah.
We're back and forth. And so may I ask you, like, what is your vision for this awakening consciousness that we're going into right now? And what is your envision for the future for our children, our grandchildren? What type of, and what kind of earth do you see we're living in?
I do hear. I've heard in different circles that we're entering this new age. Um, I think before we were in the Pisces, and now we're either now or maybe we passed it, but it's
We're in
the age of
Aquarius right now.
Aquarius. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's like a lot of what happened in the prior age gets kind of shed off, and then more people, and maybe that's what's happening with the internet, like you said. More people are waking up, and I do see it in general. Like, there's people that I've known for a long time just saying things that I'm like, I can't believe you just said that. It's like things about health, right? Things that I believe in that they're saying, but they were so like maybe 5 years ago they were just so brainwashed,
Yes.
just following the temple of Pfizer or whatever. Just whatever medical industry says, they would just follow. But now I'm just like, wow, I can't believe you have awakened to that. But to kind of my vision of the future, I think there will always be this kind of duality in society where you do have the awakened and the not awakened. Um, but that doesn't have to affect your personal life. Personally, you do have control. And like you said, it starts with yourself. You have to work on yourself before you can start expanding out and being an inspiration to others. And I think by doing that, the right people will come in your life, and even the people that are in your life, um, like your family, your children. I think you're going to make a positive impact with them, and you're going to be living in two different realities. You're going to be having your group, and then you're going to be having everyone else. Um, and I don't think that's despair at all. I think I think that's just that. I think that's just how it always has been, right? And so that's why I don't go to the future and think, oh man, the world's gonna end, and or like if Trump gets elected, we're all doomed. I don't think those kind of things. I don't even vote. I don't care about politics because that's very low level. Because you really need to start with your family, and if it doesn't, even if it doesn't change most of mainstream, but you will end up getting kind of a protective shield from a lot of what comes your way. And that just brings me joy. And because of that, I can plan for the future. Because there was a time, like a brief moment, maybe a few years, where I was afraid when I was I was awakening to everything. And I was like, oh man, we gotta like get, we need to get guns, and like we need to stack up on food. But you know what? When you have like I said, I go back to the garden because I find a lot of inspiration from there. But like one tomato seed, like this tiny, creates like hundreds in a season. There's so much abundance, right? And even with my kids, like if I could just have them, if we could just all be close to each other, we can protect one another and look after. And then all the, like I told you in the last podcast what I wish for, and I can
Yeah, with
create
your
my
with your
yeah.
father having community, everyone lives nearby. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So I can create a subculture within this greater culture that doesn't have to be affected by all of the negativity, Um, so a lot of hope, a lot of planning, and really enjoying this life that I have.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that. Yes. Totally agree. It's and with my theory with this, not theory, but like the whole manifestation too, we are living in duality, that's for sure.
Oh yeah,
Two different mindset. And sometimes I mean, I think right now at this timeline that we're in, we realize that we just got to let go of people who doesn't want to change and just really focus on our own involvement in revolution, of our self-empowerment, in the words. And collectively, we're gonna be living in community base where people have each other's back, and we all learn from one another or governs. We don't even need govern us, to be honest with
yeah.
you. It's really, we just need to have really trust-based
Trust.
communities, right? um I just want to say one thing. you know, as this whole awakening thing, people probably question like, who is really ruling the earth, right? Like, who's really behind the curtain, the no namer, who that people don't exist, that you never even heard of. So, as my understanding and my journey of learning, I really resonate that these people don't know how to manifest. Therefore, they put it out fear based in media, movies, TV shows, the news, right? For us, for us human to pick up on their fear based programming, let's just say, to make their let's just say their goal into reality, which is a fact.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's why there's so
Because
much. Oh, sorry.
oh no, 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 like I just want to finish. Like, if you think about it, the more lie you put out there over and over again, it becomes true, right? Becomes belief. Even if your mind, like I said, your mind doesn't differentiate real or not real. They're just gonna pick up the lie, like, okay, you repeat it 1,000 million times, I'm gonna say it's true. And then so you pick that up without knowing it, and then so you're like you're like their soldier, their dream catcher soldier. Like, you're making their reality come true by by them putting out the fear-based mentality out there. That's what I'm trying to say. But now that we know what their psychological method is, we can truly reverse it. And I think that's right now, that's what the massive awakening consciousness is all about. We are aware of ourselves, we are aware of their games, and we're ending it by reversing it, by no, I'm not going to take this. I'm not going to project your fear into my mindset so I can project like a projector to in the movie, right? That's really is. You're putting something, projecting movie, and it becomes a screen, right? People catch it. It's like a loop of
Yeah.
things. So now that we know, we're gonna put the right visualization in our mind, the right mindset, the right imaginary, the right reality, whatever, like that for the new coming generations and the new earth, whatever you call it, consciousness that
Right.
we're evolving right now. Yeah, what do you want to say about that, John?
And
The manifestation.
I wanted to add on to that because I do have like a similar theory because I don't know 100% if it's true or not. But I mean, they were trying to start up a World War III with the Ukraine, I believe. And me and the community that I follow, they're noticing it. They're, putting attention on it, calling it out for what it really is, and then just never happened. World War III never happened from that, right? And I think that's what it is. You just got they. I mean, I can't prove any of this, right? But somehow they understand how powerful a human mind is, and they know like if they give you enough movies or video games and put it in your head enough and get a bunch of people to actually believe that it's true, it happens. And if there's nobody there to be like, that's not true, those are lies, that's fear based, you're just trying to control us. And just like your thought of like just seeing it and a bunch of people seeing it, seeing the lies, I don't think it happens. And I don't think their plan works out.
Oh my god, completely agree. Can I give you a great example recently what happened? I don't know if you heard of this theory back in a few months ago, but they were saying September 23, which is this Saturday, yesterday.
Oh yeah.
They put in movies all over,
Yeah.
the Doomsday, all those famous movies out there. You can look it up. They were saying like, why are this movie and media talking about this date? Some were saying like end of the world. Something chaotic. Could be a comet. It could be a whatever. All this crazy fear tactic shit, right?
Yeah.
Guess what? The collective put it out there in
Yeah.
TikTok, in YouTube. I see it all over social media as like almost like a warning. And then you also see October 8th, 4th, October 4th. That's another date that's fear based. Look it up, people. But guess what? 9/23, nothing happened. I
Oh yeah.
it was peaceful. I think just exactly what you said, John. As a collective, we are aware. So we even though we know that it's out there in our face, we reverse it somehow, right? We're just gonna go, no, we're not gonna buy
Yeah.
that. No, it's not gonna happen.
It does seem like a lot of things are not going as planned.
A lot of things. We can list them off.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
I mean, that's another. I mean, you asked me if I feel hope. I that gives me hope too. I mean, just the fact that you can notice and you can have a bunch of people notice a plan, and then that just makes it not work. Just that alone. Just
and think
calling it
about
out.
it. Exactly. And think about this, John. This also gives me hope too. If they were really suppressing our speech, censoring us, and maybe like locking us up somewhere, right? That's the fear, right? That's another theory back then. Well, why are all these podcasters not locking down? Why they're
Yeah.
still up and talking about it? Why are you and I able to talk about it, right? There's
Right.
something positive behind this. I truly believe it, because if it's really we live in a very slavery, whatever, like go to prison for
Uh,
what you speech. All of us will be doomed right now. We won't even have this platform to be this to start off with, right?
Sometimes I feel like the internet was a plan, just like television, to just get into people's minds more. But I don't know if they planned that it would be a great avenue for communication and we can just get ideas out way faster. So, I mean,
Yeah,
there's always a silver lining to everything that you think is like doom and gloom. Um, and like we said, duality, right? You just got to think about the positive aspect and not the negative part.
definitely. And one thing I just want to say before we close off, one of my piece of advice for my own personal thing that I notice about myself is I think everyone go through this experience, but like for instance, scrolling, right? You scrolling through a lot of social media, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is. There's so many areas. Every topic there is out there, it's in there, right?
Yes.
All I have to say is really protect your energy, really safeguard what you're in tune with. So for me, I used to get so distracted. Like I get fear based too. I'm like, oh my god, we're the world's ending, or something like just like I'm like a little bit obsessed about it that particular topic. So I would post it, and I was like thinking to myself, I'm really not doing what I'm preaching. I'm putting the fear base out there to my own audience. Like, why am I doing that? So right now, I'm very selective with what I looked at it. Like there's really a time for detox for social media. It's okay to be connect with your family, do things that you love, right? So only if you do come across something negative, let's just say on your social media, my greatest blessing advice is cancel it. It's not for me.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. So you're already telling your head, I don't believe it. Thanks. No thanks. Cancel. Because we're really programming ourselves just like a computer, you know, delete, delete, delete.
Great
You set
advice.
delete system in your own mind, right? So it's really impactful to be just aware of your scrolling, really. If you find yourself mindless scrolling, just that's your time to stop because it's not going anywhere. You're like, why am I all of a sudden I feel okay, peaceful, and all of a sudden I feel fear because I'm scrolling mindlessly for no reason. So really protect your energy, really protect what you're looking at out there, and just stay in a positive vibe. So, John, I just want to share with you this really great quote that I found, and in the right topic that we're um, talking about today in this episode. It's about power, our own power. Your power will either amplify the light in others or triggers the shadows in them. How they respond has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. Stay aligned with your own vibration and let people meet you there. When you reach a certain frequency, the universe, God, will send you souls who will help you exit repeating loops of karma. These people are a reflection of your own readiness and determination to achieve growth. Together, you are walking each other home to authenticity and wholeness. That
Wow.
is 1,000, 2,000% true. What do you think?
Amazing.
Yes. And that's exactly what we've been talking about. You just got to connect with yourself to the higher self out there, and yeah, trust that everything will be taken care of and the right people will come into your life and you'll
Yeah.
be much peaceful and happier.
Do
Yes.
you do you
Um
think oh yeah, sorry.
no, go ahead.
Do you think that our body is more of like an antenna and our spirit is actually we're receiving it? What do you think?
Yes. I'm learning as well. I'm learning about sound healing.
Okay.
You know that we're the love healing vibration, it should be at the 332 hertz. You heard of that, right? But in the
Yeah.
music industry, they know that, so they've reversed it to I think a 444 gigahertz,
Yeah, something different.
something different. it lower your vibration, but it also attract darkness in your life. They do that on a purpose. On purpose, you can talk. You can look up so many music producer talk about this, that know the sound frequency. You know the power of frequency. So um,
So they're blocking your antenna with your spirit.
so I have come across videos where the experiment with the scientists. They ring the bell at a certain frequency, and then the bell with the matching frequency does not match, so they have to find another bell with the same frequency, and that bell will
Okay.
bounce off. So it has to be a balance.
Yeah.
And then another thing, if you looked up, it is the salt vibration. They did this experiment where they put salt or sand, and they put the your speaker,
I've seen that.
like
Yeah.
it vibrate. Yeah, so it has a different type of what you call it, art, right? Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
sand
Like
form
a
a certain
picture.
art. Yeah, certain symbols, things like that. So I'm starting learning about that we are 70% water, right?
Yeah.
You know that famous scientist, I'm sorry, I forgot his name, but he's very famous. He did the water experiment.
Mi- Miyamoto or something, or
Yes, yes, Miyamoto. Yeah,
I don't know if that's the right one.
speaking positive
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
speaking negative, and the plant either go dead or grow.
Right.
We
Yeah.
are
I know that
water.
one.
So yeah, it's just like you with gardening. I start blessing my own garden. I said I love
Ah,
you
yeah.
as I'm watering my plant. It really is like
Yeah.
that's how impactful it is. So that's why I think everything really resonate with our antenna, because that goes with our consciousness level too. Because like why do you ask some people are asleep and some people are awake? Because their antenna is in tune with the right
Right.
frequency. um I forgot. N- n- Tesla, what's his name? Nikola
Tesla.
Tesla. I'm
Nikola
sorry.
Tesla. Yeah. I'm bad with names too.
And his famous quote, John, was, if you want to understand if you want to understand the universe, look at frequency and vibration.
Right.
And he talked about the 369 method.
369.
369. And then I heard there's like a 12 too, or something like that.
Okay.
Man, once you dig, it's you can never
Yeah.
stop. I'm sorry.
It just
But
goes
yeah.
on forever.
So okay, so one last question, John. Um, I asked this to all my guests, and I think
Okay.
it's really founding. If you have a chance to talk to your inner, your child, your what
Inner
you call
child.
your inner child,
Okay.
as you seeing you yourself as a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are the three most profound advice you would give yourself, your younger self?
Um. Get married early. Start having kids right away. That's number two.
Why is that?
Like we're trying for the fourth, and it's just so hard now. I mean, my wife's older, and now that I'm aware of how how to live a good life, I would say. Um, I'm like the only child with my parents, so I don't have like the siblings. Right? I don't know. I know a lot of people aren't close with their siblings, but I think there's so much power to having blood related, people. I think they amplify each other. I mean, with friends you can as well, but I just feel like when you're related, it just amplifies even more, whatever you're pursuing. And so, like I wish I had more kids so that they could enjoy that kind of tribe that I don't have. My dad, both my dad and mom moved away from their families, so we're kind of out here for the most part on our own. So I don't have a real relationship with many of my cousins. But like this is the power of having a tribe. I mean, they call Israel, but there was actually a biblical figure named Israel who had all his children and descendants, and now we call that Israel. I mean, tribe used to mean blood, right? Tribe used to mean like that's your family. Nation was your blood. And in a small way, I want to bring that back. I want to have that amplification. And so that's why I would say I would want more kids, just so I can have that. So those are two things I would tell myself: get married earlier, don't wait, have the kids. And number three, get it really into gardening. I just started learning now, and I wish I had started younger. Yeah, I think those are just really powerful advice. I mean,
Because having your own
I'm
garden really
yeah,
benefit your health in the long run, right?
yeah. I give that advice to my kids right now. So I mean, I guess that's my inner child is giving them what I didn't know back in the day.
I love that. Yeah. When you know better, you do better, and you pass
Yeah,
it on to the next
right.
generation. Definitely.
Wow,
Wow.
we're
Well,
almost at 2 hours. I didn't expect this.
this is great conversation. We're just flowing back and forth,
Yeah,
and I love that we having this dynamic topics that everyone can be relatable in today's world, current situation. And I hope you really enjoy our chat here with John. It's incredible what you share with us, your knowledge, John. Thank you so much for being here. I am Powerful Movement. Your platform, your stories and experience, and has so much inspiration and
oh,
power in itself. So I'm so grateful for
I hope.
you
Yeah,
and getting to know you as a friend as well.
oh, yeah.
And
Likewise.
so thank you everyone for tuning in today's episode of to heal and self love and keep finding truth. We are truth warriors. Don't ever you are enough, and don't ever doubt yourself no matter what. Yes. So thank you, John. Thank you, everyone.
All right,
Bye.
take
See you next
care.
episode. See ya.